All right, so welcome back. So that clip explains to you a little bit about epilepsy. And here with me is one young man who uses his own experience of living with epilepsy to witness to the challenges that he goes through, but also at the same time to encourage others. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, man. It's good. It's good to have you. You've been here before.
Yes, I have.
So it's not a big deal.
No.
But okay, introduce yourself.
Every minute is a new experience,
Yeah, definitely.
actually.
So introduce yourself for us.
My name is Joseph Njao Kinyanjui, and I'm a non-epileptic for now 5 years. And I work in one of the local media stations we have here in Kenya, but at the same time, I'm the CEO of Digified Marketing Solutions. Just one of the companies I started immediately after I was through with high school.
I mean, it's interesting that you are working in one of the very first religious TV stations in Kenya, right?
Yes.
So it's basically it's a Catholic station.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And now you said you're also the CEO of Digified Marketing. Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
This came in months after I had attended a Google training project that they had started here in Kenya. It was among the few who had started it. I know most people have gone through it, but immediately I started learning digital skills. I fell in love with it, and I started researching, learning more. So it took me to greater lengths in trying to basically understand what digital marketing was. And after I was satisfied that I had learned enough, I met a few of my friends and said, well, there's a huge gap in the Kenyan industry for digital marketers and more so digital strategists. And then I came together and decided to start the outfit Digified Marketing Solutions. And since then, it has been full steam ahead. Of course, it has its challenges, yes, but the challenges make us learn more and invest more and want to be more.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And you feel Digified marketing and digital marketing, as you call it. I think Digified is a play of the word digital.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you feel this is the future, right?
Yes, I do.
And this is where companies are going to.
Exactly, and it's remarkable that the government appreciated digital marketing as an industry just late last year, because it was more informal. Those people who were doing it were not fully recognized. So once it was recognized, everybody came into the field. Right now we have people coming in, whether they're influencers or digital marketers themselves, and even other companies that had different forms of marketing have now adopted digital marketing as part of their services, which is great, because now we are joining the ranks of companies like Australia, the US, the UK, whose digital marketing industries are fully developed, and we find companies that are worth millions, but yet they're just doing digital work.
Digital work.
Yeah.
But we are getting there anyway.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Now, come to your experience. So, as you said, you have been living with epilepsy for since when? Since how young?
Basically, it started when I was in high school. So that is around like 5 years ago, meaning that by now I was around in Form 2. It was absolutely funny. We didn't even understand.
Wait,
actually,
5 years ago you were in high school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, so what happened was that I had transferred schools from my first high school that I was in Nakuru, and I had gone to Eldoret, and I was studying in one of the seminaries called Mother of Apostles Seminary. And then I just recovered from, so to say, a rheumatic fever, which is an infection of the heart. So we had thought that everything was done, now it's full steams ahead to study. But when I was in school, I started noticing complications that I will pause, and when I recover, everything had moved. Like I was in the middle of a lesson, then pause, but by the time I recover, the lesson is done. And I could not explain the lapses in memory that I was having. And
during this time, nobody would notice that you had gone, okay.
Yeah, it's just me, and I would see, because it's one of those things, but you and yourself, no. There was something that I was doing, and I'm not doing it anymore, and I wonder what is happening. Then slowly by slowly started coming to losing of consciousness, and from losing of consciousness now into having seizures where the body will vigorously shake. And when I would wake up, I had no knowledge of anything like that had ever happened.
Was it scary during these moments when you don't know exactly what it is?
Yes, it was alien, because everybody was looking like me, like a possessed man in school.
Yeah.
And it was bad, because students will look at you and see like, this man has an issue, and we are not sure what this issue is. Now, it happened that I had gone for a regular checkup for her checkup, and I told my doctor that this is 1, 2, 3 that has been happening, and he requested for some tests. That's when me and my father came for me from school and went for a test. And after it was done, that's when the doctor broke the news to us that I have epilepsy.
You have epilepsy.
Yes.
And does epilepsy have a time or an age at which it strikes, or?
Well, epilepsy is quite a very funny condition. Yeah? We don't call it a disease because it's just like a way of life, but it always ends with time. And some of us, it's so funny. One funny fact is that some people will know when they're about to have a seizure, and some will not. Like, it just happens, and you have no idea what has happened. And sometimes it's vigorous, sometimes it's not. And like now for us, it was just, we didn't know that it was there. So you'll find that I don't think we can just like basically put it in a box and say like young people are at a risk of getting epilepsy, or old people are at risk of getting epilepsy. Is that it's like any other disease, somebody can get it. But now it's the causes and the effects that basically now really vary from one place to another. Yeah.
And when you usually get these attacks here yourself in your experience, did you get support? And you know, sometimes in African culture, in many cultures, they tend to see it, as you mentioned very well, as maybe a bit of sorcery, right? Pengine kuna mtu alienda kwa mchawi akasema kwamba pengine inaonekana kama uchawi.
Ama familia ikuzika mtu vizuri. Ama kuna familia yenu kuna mchawi na mtu ambaye anaenda. Did you experience some of this, or did you experience support from family and friends? I'm really grateful that my family stood there for me, and even those who are close to me, including even my girlfriend, was very instrumental in making sure that I was stable. But that doesn't mean that out there everything was okay, because I do remember one time I was coming home from school, and I had a seizure in the bus, and I was stolen off everything, the money I had.
Oh, it was a public bus.
Yeah.
Oh, and everything was stolen from you.
Yes.
And is it the first time you had an attack in a public bus?
No. That was not the first time?
No. You had the one before?
Yes. I've had seizures in some of the weirdest places that I think anybody could ever want to.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny because it can get you anywhere, but it depends on the triggers, you know. So you need to understand what triggers it and then avoid it, because then it was too much noise on the matatu, and I'm trying to tell the touts, take it down, but you know how they tell you, like, go and buy your own car. Then it got too much. I had a seizure, and by the time I was getting to stage or when I'm coming back after recovering, I have nothing. So I have to basically look for a person, call home, and say that where I've been stolen, I don't have money, come for me.
At least you could remember the number.
Yeah, that's a good, and then it's a good thing to we always have a card that has your emergency contact information. So when you've recovered and you have nothing and you cannot remember, when people look through your belongings, they will always see a card that explains that I am epileptic. This is my doctor, this is my parent, this is my school. I always make sure I work with this important information, so that when I have a seizure out there, somebody can always call my next of kin very easily.
Do you have that sample card here with
you? Yeah, we do.
It's okay. We can see it. We're going to take a short break right now, and At Africa is going to take us. Yeah, At Africa is going to take us through, and then when you come back, maybe you can tell us more about that card and maybe a bit about the causes and how you have been, how someone who has been like you, who is experiencing epilepsy, can cope up with it. So right now I'm going to give it up to the At Africa band. I'm sure they work already. Bwana Masanga, how is it that side?
It's cool.
It's all good?
Yes.
Pick it up. Let's go. This band always rocks this show, and you know it. I enjoy, absolutely love the Art Africa Kenya. And as I've already told you, if you have an event, these are the people to call. If you want to have a wedding, you have even a corporate event, these are the people to call. They always do an amazing job. I want to so much. These guys are rocking the show, isn't it?
I'm actually loving the melodies.
I actually almost forgot that we are going back on air. I was like, all right, so now we're back. So you're mentioning about this card,
yes,
that talks about, so when you have this card and maybe you have a seizure, people are able to see these and are able to realize that you, and it has some of the numbers,
yes,
that people can call in case, for you to receive any kind of help you might need.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's important because that particular card is a national disabilities card.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to note that epilepsy is also classified under disability. And one of the few mentalities I've had is like, yes, I have epilepsy, but that does not mean I'm disabled. It means I'm just able differently, as we put it. And the reason why I have it is sometimes it gets really hard in accessing services out there and expressing yourself. But the moment you have it, it opens doors for you. And at the same time, it also, it like encapsulates you from the rest of the society. And I mean, it can be brutal sometimes, but the purpose is in knowing where to stand and having people who can stand by you. So
if I get you well, what you're saying is if someone is suffering from epilepsy, first of all, that accepting that you have this epilepsy does not mean you are lesser, because probably the reason they don't want to have the disability card is, no, I'm not disabled. Probably for them, it means I am lesser than other people, or it's a situation of lack of self-acceptance.
Yeah, and it's actually wrong because I spent quite a little time in that kind of mental state, denying that I'm epileptic. And the thing is, once you start denying things, then every other opinion, every other thing that people do that is against you, feel it's more of you being condemned for being with a specific condition of being epileptic. And it's bad because it doesn't make you better. It makes you worse. So if you want to get better, it is always good to accept the circumstances you are in and then make steps to be better.
Make steps to be better.
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we went for the break, you were mentioning that you have ever had even a seizure in a bus.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us which is the most difficult or the most awkward place that you ever had a seizure, and how you were able to get out of it?
The bathroom.
The bathroom.
Yeah. I was taking a shower and I slipped, had a seizure, and you've locked the bathroom. So when I had a seizure in the bathroom, they had literally to break down the door.
Dad had to
come
break
for
down
me. Yes.
And get you out.
Yeah. He had to break down the door to come for me.
Yeah, that's pretty dangerous, right there.
Yeah, I hit my head pretty hard. I'm sure I had a lump actually on my head.
I'm sorry for that.
And
sorry?
It's that's the thing. Epilepsy, okay, people have so many opinions on what epilepsy is, but we're always advised that you should always see a doctor to give you a definite opinion. As even people had watched on the clip, yet the doctor had tried to say that if you just have a seizure for the first time, it is not necessarily epilepsy, but you should see a doctor. Yeah. So a doctor can definitely, after a series of tests, tell you have epilepsy. Now give you a way forward, and then you start following that. So
actually, that's the first thing. Actually, the next question I wanted you to answer is someone who is suffering from epilepsy. What should they do? Because one of the things that we saw in the clip is one seizure does not equal epilepsy.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe could you tell us maybe 2 or 3 pointers of what you would advise someone who thinks, or a family that have someone who's suffering from epilepsy?
I think the very first thing is a doctor first.
A doctor.
Yeah, we have neurologists. and doctors who are trained to treat us. See a doctor. A doctor will definitely listen to your medical history, listen to your symptoms as normal, and then will recommend a series of tests. Then take the tests. The moment you've taken the tests will be able to tell the doctor if you're epileptic or not. If you're not epileptic, the doctor will still follow his train of thought and try to determine what exactly is wrong with you. On the other aspect, if you're epileptic, the doctor now will advise you on what to do next. Mostly, you will start clinics. You'll be given medicine, and then you start clinics. So what will happen is that this medicine, what the doctors do is titrate to find which dose is very good for you and can basically make sure that you're staying without a seizure. Remember, each moment you have a seizure, it's not good. It means this is an effect on the brain, and actually some brain cells die. Yeah. So it is good, and it is very important that they try and make sure you're not getting these seizures, so that you can still have a normal life, but still, because it's so funny, like for us epileptics, those who are not stable cannot drive, and you may want to drive so fast, but you cannot.
Yeah, because it can happen there.
Yeah, you may not go to clubs, maybe because the strobe lights, the sound, the environment is bad for you and can make you have a seizure. That's a sacrifice you have to make. And for you to make these lifestyle choices, you must have accepted yourself.
Definitely. So what you're talking about is the doctor, self-acceptance, and what is the advice you'd give to those around someone who is epileptic?
For somebody who's epileptic, I mean, it's important we understand that epilepsy is a condition like any other. Yeah, and it doesn't mean you've seen somebody with a seizure, that person is, maybe they call it, you've been you've been possessed. Yeah, some people say you've been possessed. For me, I've even heard go to as a specific doctor to get rid of your sinuses. That's the reason why you have epilepsy. Or go and slaughter a ram to appease your ancestors
and the gods.
Yeah, I've heard all that, but what I've really tried to do is to stay focused. I know I have it, and this is what. Then they cannot have come through to be who I am without my family. For those people who are living with epilepsy, support them. They're human beings like us. Yeah? Support them, work with them, because they may be challenged in one area or another, but you'll be very surprised that they are very able in another.
In another way,
yeah. You find even some of prominent people in the world have epilepsy, but they're still on the down and they're still doing great things
and accomplishing a lot.
Yeah. What about your son or your daughter or you who have epilepsy? You can still.
So to believe in them that they can accomplish something.
Yeah, and to work with them.
Yeah. Now, before we go for another short break with the At Africa band, we're going to close at least this part, and I really appreciate that you came to share with us about your experience with epilepsy. I'm sure there's someone who is watching out there, even if they don't have this particular challenge, they could be having a certain physical or psychological challenge, or whatever kind of disability they may be struggling with. Yes. And probably hearing your witness, they are able to like reevaluate themselves, you know. And I really wish you the very best, and I hope that you continue to inspire the world with your experience of courage, and make your company Digified Marketing and where you're working even thrive more. Wishing you the best of luck, and thanks again for coming to my show.
Thank you.
All right.
It's
all right. So that has been Joseph Njau speaking to us about how he lives with epilepsy, and you can hear this is a man of courage, and this is what I love to do during this show, to give you real life stories and to give you experiences that can help you to grow and to be better and to accomplish more in spite of the challenge you're going through. Remember what I told you. Text me on 22162 starting the word power. Tell me one of the challenges that you have and you are overcoming it because you have chosen to be a victor, not a victim. And now I take it to At Africa, who are going to take us through with another beautiful song. These guys, amazing. So in 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
I trust in you alone. Jehovah, you, I trust in you alone. Jehovah.
Welcome back to the PowerTalk show. Now, as I had told you, I want to send some airtime to somebody who last time was very active, and I'm going to send the airtime to this person in the next few minutes. This person's number ends with, let me check, because every show I'll be sending 250 shillings worth of airtime to the person who texts the most during the show. And now I know this number ends with 280. This person is the one who texted last time. And in a few minutes, this person is going to receive the airtime and send. If you keep texting to the PowerTalk show, you're going to get 250 shillings worth of airtime. And now we are closing up the show. And I want you to realize something about labels. Labels are things that we hear because of our experiences. Either we hear them or they have been given to us because of mistakes we have made or some weaknesses that we have. Before I explain that more, I want you to watch a clip here. You might have seen it, but I want you to see it again, especially in the context of what you've been speaking with my guest Joseph Njau, that whatever labels people might have put on you because of whatever challenges you have gone through, they do not have to define who you are. Watch this clip by Nick, and then we come back. We shall share a few things.
My doctors never thought that I'd be able to walk, and today I'm walking. Don't be afraid to work, don't be afraid to try, don't be afraid to network, and don't be shy. Go out and try, and you never know who you may inspire along the way.
Come back now. You have seen that that's Nick with his wife and 2 children, and Nick is an amazing human person, but he is not someone who is exceptional from you. He is not someone who has something different from you or created differently than who you are. He is a human being who made a choice to refuse to be labeled, to refuse to slow down because of the challenges that he went through. And as we close up the PowerTalk show, I want you to realize that the weakness that you have, your background, wherever you come from, whether you come from a family that is dysfunctional, whether you come from a single parent family, whether you are an orphan, whether you have been called by people stupid or slow or you don't get things, whether you have been bullied, whether it doesn't define the person that you are. Choice is what defines who we are, how we choose to live our lives, what attitude we choose in whatever circumstances that we are in, what kind of attitude we choose in spite of the challenges that we are experiencing. So at the end of the day, it is not the government of the time that is going to determine where you'll be 20 years from today. It is not where you're coming from that's going to determine where you're going to be 20 years from today. It's not the economic times that are going to define whether you're going to be 20 years from today. It is one word, and that is choice. So make sure that you do not accept those choices, those labels that have been put on you, that by your drunk uncle, by your friends who never accepted you, or your family that thought you were not good enough, but choose to become that which God created you to be, His own image. This has been the PowerTalk Show with me, George, and now I'm going to leave it to Art Africa. And remember always what I say: go mad, go out, make a difference. See you next Wednesday.